You know, liberals don't like people who are ready to sacrifice themselves. For them, if you are too radical, you are already one step towards totalitarianism. Virtue without terror is impotent. Terror without virtue is blind, no? I accept this totally. I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem. The crucial point of every radical movement is to have terror through virtue. In order to establish the fundamentals of democracy, you have to go through this zero level of Jacobinism. You cannot say we could have done it in a much easier way. My God, if you read some of the attacks on Robespierre, it would have seemed as if, you know, they exerted a full dictatorship, just played this game, how can we kill more people? Are people aware that practically, literally, the whole of Europe declared war on France? Foreign powers effectively were deeply involved into helping counter-revolution. At that time, to say republic is in danger, it wasn't the Stalinist excuse to kill another million of people and so on and so on. The good thing about general will is that I simply think that there are political situations of tension, popular enthusiasm, explosion, and so on, where we are justified to say something is going on here, you know, where all interests represented, where something like general will constitutes itself. You cannot reproach them for that. And what I don't like in the critics of Jacobinism is that on behalf of rejecting their so-called proto-totalitarian excesses, what lurks behind is, for me, this cynical liberal wisdom. You see, the lesson of Jacobins is, we should, yes, talk about equality and so on, but secretly we should be aware it doesn't really work. If there were politicians who were not in any way cynical or with this ironic wisdom and so on, it's the Jacobins. Maybe we need this today. This may sound totalitarian, but I think there is a moment of truth in it. To say, I want to stay out, is violently to take sides. I will give you a shocking comparison. You know that Mahatma Gandhi, an anti-Jacobin, if there ever is one, says in some of his writing the same thing. The lesson is, in a really tough situation of choice, there is no neutral position. You have to take sides. Not taking sides is already taking sides. What I was shocked at when I read at least some of Robespierre's writing was his ruthless honesty. How, for example, he openly says, I am well aware that if you look at the immediate, I paraphrase him now, of course, the immediate reality of what we are doing, we are killing people, we are doing monstrosities and so on. And he said, the only thing that justifies it is the idea of equality, revolutionary ideal, virtue, and so on and so on. He had no illusions here. Isn't this, I claim, the same logic, the fundamental feature of our late capitalist society? We want what? We want a product, an object, without paying the harsh price for it. We want beer without alcohol. We want chocolate without sugar. We want coffee without caffeine. We want the thing without the harsh element. And even in politics, what was, you remember, the Colin Powell doctrine? War, but with all this shock and awe bombing, without any casualties on our side. War without war. It's frightening, but wait a minute, these are frightening things. Again, now, sorry, don't take it too personally, but the one who says frightening wants a revolution without a revolution. Oh my God, now I would like to no, it's a bad joke, but you know, if you were in France, yeah, just a little bit. All authentic revolutionaries were always deeply suspicious about the final result. So this never of Robespierre's, he was well aware that the struggle goes on forever, so that it's almost a kind of a oriental wisdom that the only satisfaction that we can get is the satisfaction of the struggle. Literally, terror is an emanation of virtue. That is to say, in a radical situation of injustice, the only actual proof of love is to accept to fight, to accept the struggle. That's for me the lesson of it, and it's simply true. We shouldn't be afraid of it. Jesus Christ says precisely the same thing when he at the same time says love, turn the left cheek and all that stuff, and then he says, you remember, if you don't hate your mother, your father, you are not my follower. When he says, I bring sword, war, destruction, I don't bring peace, and so on and so on. It's as simple as that. This is the radical emancipatory logic which one should accept. There is a moment of truth when Robespierre brings, I think, on stage a black book and then says, I have here a list of traitors, no? And then turns up and says, if, I paraphrase him, if any of you now feels fear that his name is afraid that his name is in my book, this already is a proof that he is a traitor. I claim there is a deep truth in it. He said that a true revolutionary should accept that if necessary, he will perish himself in the process. And then he says openly, I in advance accepted that I may die in the process. It's something very beautiful that he says that. He's not saying I am pure. He's saying maybe the process will swallow me. You know, this usual motto, revolution eats its own children. Robespierre was ready to accept this. I will be eaten. That's the true heroism.